to have this conversation with you.
Nice one, nice one. Okay, we're going live on Facebook. It's setting us up.
Awesome.
But we can begin, which is cool.
Sure.
Preparing to live stream. Yay! We are now streaming live on Facebook. And we've got Bongiwe here with Plan of Action. And this is your 15 minutes of fame, Bongiwe. This is where you
Super excited.
Tell us a little bit about you and tell us about, you've got lots of Plan of Action shots. You know, if there's somebody who's managed to very successfully take the stuff they've learned and value it and implement it to yourself. But tell us a little bit more about who Bongiwe is. We now know that you're in the Val, but what else?
So Bongiwe is born and bred in the Val. I've been living here my whole life. I am a film and TV graduate. I studied film and TV for 3 years. Then I went on to work in the film and TV industry in South Africa for about 7 years. And when lockdown came, I had I don't know what to call it, isn't it, epiphany or a change of heart when it came to career, because most of us found ourselves sitting at home, reevaluating our lives, thinking, reflecting on what we've been doing for the past couple of years. And lockdown for me, like many other people, was a blessing in disguise, because I had to sit down with myself after a long journey of trying to figure out, where am I going with this life thing? What am I doing? And it was when I was sitting with my son, because he had recently started creche at the time, and he was now in the routine of learning things. And I'm thinking, I can't just let him sit. He was excited about doing the morning routines, prayers at school, the learning of alphabets and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, let me try it. So I stayed with him and we did alphabets and we did letters and we did the days of the week. And I was like, hey, there's something here. And through that process and through that journey, I realized that there was a teacher inside of me that has been suppressed, because this entire time I was following a career that I genuinely loved, but there was something else, there was something else that I needed to pursue. And it took my son, it took lockdown, it took me reflecting in my life to see that, hey, there's a teacher inside of you. And what if we were to pursue this? I did something very bold. I went on to apply, and even in applying, I don't think I thought it through. I literally went with this feeling that was inside of me that, hey, let's do this. So I applied for NWU and I went, they accepted my application, and everything about it was a breeze, Uncle Vic. There was no hiccups, there was no obstacles. Everything was open door, basically. And all I had to do, when you are aligned, it just felt like everything was waiting for me to jump in, and everything came together. So once my application was approved, 6 months down the line, I got a call for an internship. And just like that, I started working at a school. And everything has been great. I don't want to lie. Right now, I'm working as a student teacher at a school in Soweto, doing foundation phase, and I absolutely love it. I am so happy. I'm so fulfilled. I honestly feel like my stars have aligned.
Wow, that is some story. That is
Sure.
An amazing story. And it just goes to show that you can have career changes or career improvements or career redirections, which is all normal. Tell me about your encounter with this thing called value add.
Sure. So value add came through, and again, stars were aligned. Value add came through the internship that I was a part of. And when we were told about value add, we were told that you have to attend this thing or else we'll take the internship away from you. You were basically threatened. So for me, it was again a blessing in disguise, because once I attended the lesson, one thing that you have said consistently in our sessions was, have a word that will keep you grounded to yourself. And I remember you were saying things like, I made a commitment to never lie. And I took those things to heart, because I'm a very intentional person, but I never actually thought about it. So my encounter with value add and all of the sessions that we had, it felt like, this is who I am. These are conversations that I've been wanting to have for the longest of time. And once I go out and have this conversation, people are like, you're so deep. Do you really have to think about things in that sense? And I'm like, because this is life. we can't be taking it at any less, right? We have to consider the fact that life in itself is deep, and I want to have deep conversations, and people are just like, nah, we are not about that. And I thought to myself, value add is that. Value add for me is the conversations that I've been wanting to have for the longest of time, where I'm able to introspect, where I'm able to look at myself and think, this you've been doing wrong, or this you've been doing right. You are on the right path. Small things that we literally take for granted. Value add taught me things like purpose. Value add taught me things like being intentional about your life and what it actually means. I mean, at this point, I have a t-shirt that is printed intentional. And every time I put that t-shirt on, I feel like I'm wearing intentionality as a uniform, and that for me is things that value add has put in my life and the impact that it has had in my personal life, where I feel like finally somebody gets me. Finally, the conversations that I've been wanting to have, the conversations that other people just feel like they're not ready for, or they don't know how to navigate around. And every time I tell people that, listen, we need to have these conversations. And we can't run away from having conversations about life. We need to figure out, why are we here? What are we doing? And we can't do this in our private corners. We need a community of people that we can do this together and figure it out. I can go on and on and on. I go big.
No, you're powerful. I mean, it's actually very, very true. I mean, the more you transfer knowledge with each other, the more you grow. I just found, I mean, we had a session yesterday with a group that I'm part of, and we invited a guest speaker from the US. And just listening to him was all encompassing, because it grows you some more, right? It's just something, I mean, he talked about the definition of wealth, which was such a powerful thing. And he was saying, he asked everybody, what's the definition of wealth? And people sort of tended to lean to material things. And he says, no, that's not the definition of wealth. The definition of wealth is the ability to leverage a value. So if your value, for example, is time, right? And you've managed to leverage time in your life, that is wealth, right?
Yeah.
If your value is relationships and you've managed to leverage strong relationships, that is wealth. So he was making us all reassess this construct of what wealth is, because everybody just assumes it is the connotation of something financial, which is why when people get wealthy or rich, they still are very unhappy, which is always an irony, right? Because that's what everybody's chasing. But so you're speaking amazingly. And in value add, what you've actually been able to do, tell us what you've been able to do in terms of now putting the plan of action of all these things that you've been thinking about and hoping about and executing against, because you're heading up valued teams. Tell us about that.
So this is one of the great things about value add, right? It touches you, but also pushes you to touch other people. I was in value add for about 6 months before you called me up and said, hey, let's do valued teams. And the thing about value add as a whole is that it literally makes you believe that you can do it. It literally says to you, pay it forward. And that's what it did for me, because even when the opportunity was presented to me, nothing in me said you can't do it. Everything in me said, go for it. Here's an opportunity. And once I stepped into valued teams, then I realized there's things like web designing that I can do. I never in my whole entire life thought I can design a whole entire website by myself. But I sat with it, and with the thought in mind that I can do it. As in, there's nothing in me that cannot do this. Once I commit to it, I can do it. And this came from what value add stands for. If you can commit to something long enough, consistently so, then you can do it. So I've been doing valued teams now for a couple of, I think we've done 9 or 10 sessions, if I'm not mistaken. And all of them have been a pay it forward. Here's the conversation that we need to have with young people, where we are not talking about mediocre things, but we are going into the deeper aspect of what life is. I mean, for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about purpose, and nobody has such conversation with teenagers. Nobody thinks to speak to teenagers about what is your purpose, because now we are thinking they're in high school. They will figure out their purpose once they get to varsity or once they get to matric, and they have to decide what they want to do after this. But the people that I'm speaking to, the teenagers that I'm speaking to, are people in grade 8 who at this point are now thinking intentionally about the life that they want to live. And this is what Value Add does, and subsequently Value Teams, where we are accountable to each other. If my teenagers are saying to me, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher, we hold them accountable to the things that they're saying. We are giving them a role in life where we are saying, you are not just going to come into this world, do what you need to do and leave without leaving a positive impact. What we are saying is you as a teenager need to have a positive role. So that has been me and Value Teams, me trying to figure out if I'm actually going to do web designing as another career path, and PR and marketing. I mean, there's things inside of me that I never knew existed until Value Add came and gave me a little poke in the right direction, where once you reach a certain level in Value Add, you are now sitting there thinking, hey, if I can achieve this level, then surely I can achieve the next level. Then you get to the next level, then you're like, surely I can get to the next level. So we are becoming unstoppable with each and every session. Lives are being changed positively so. And for me, I can attest to the fact that I am now walking proudly as a Value Edian, trying to get people onto this platform, because I'm saying, guys, we need this. As in, I see what Value Add does for me, and I want to pay it forward to other people. If I can get the whole of South Africa onto Value Add, Uncle Vic, problem solved.
We'll get there. We will. And
one session at a time.
You're an extremely powerful individual who, you know, one of the things that you should give credit to yourself for is that, you know, I always give this analogy to Tseko, is that what Value Add does is drop a rope, right, at different places. And there are certain people who look up at the rope and go, nah. There's certain people who don't even see the rope when it's right in front of them. And there are certain people who grab the rope and then start climbing and then let go. And then there are others who grab the rope and then start climbing and don't stop climbing and just add more rope themselves on top of the rope and keep going. And you are one of those of the latter who saw the rope, grabbed it, and just keeps climbing, right? And keeps adding and climbing and adding and climbing. So all kudos to yourself for actually turning this into something that you want it to be, right? As opposed to what happens in society, which is waiting for something that you want to appear for you. So no, good stuff, good stuff. You had a quote, right, in your poster.
Live life daily. It's simple as that. Live life daily.
And as simple as it is, it's tough, because you're talking about living with intentionality, and you're talking about being present, right?
Yeah.
Which is not easy, and it's something that I'm practicing. You said something earlier that was pretty powerful about what you're doing in Value Teams, which is just giving people the idea of what their purpose is. And I only discovered my purpose well into my working life, right? I think it was my second job, where some guy came to do a presentation on time planning to us as employees. And I kind of went, not only do I want to know more about time planning, but I kind of want to be able to do what he's doing to help people with time planning. So what you're doing is very, very powerful. Give an encouraging tone to people as to why they should join Value to end up.
Why you should join Value Add? I think one of the most important thing is we are brought into this world for something, and we are never going to figure it out in our little cocoons. At the end of the day, there's a reason why there's other people in this world, and it's not just you. So Value Add is that. Value Add is a community of people that are here to support you, to encourage you, to push you, and to bring out the best of you, your best potential as yet. You know, one of the things that we are unable to do is live alone. We are meant to be living in communities. And once you find a community like Value Add that pushes you to think about your mental health, to think about your physical state. I mean, I never knew that happiness is something that I need to intentionally work at so that I'm happy, right? But then I was introduced to the happy course, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's this thing that, you know, happiness can also be an intentional thing. So Value Add is that. Value Add is saying you have greater potential. Don't sit on yourself. One of the things that we fail in is sitting in ourselves and not reaching for our full potential. But once we go for ourselves, once we say yes to ourselves, Uncle Vic, through the work of Value Aid, we are reaching greater potential, and we are living out our full purpose. Once we get to the end of our life, it's not about the number of years we lived, but the quality of our life, the number of people that we touched along the way, and the positive impact that we've had. Value Aid pushes you towards that. Value Aid pushes you towards greatness, towards goodness, towards paying it forward. You know, it's not just about you, but once you are in it, you want everybody else to come and join this journey. So join Value Aid. It would be the best decision you can ever do for yourself.
You've inspired me today. You've given me gusto to go on and keep going for the weekend. Thank you. Thank you, Bongiwe. You are amazing. We're truly, truly blessed to have you in Value Aid, and I know the Value teens are truly blessed to have you. And hearing you, I think all parents who've got young teenagers must bring their teenagers so they can get fully inspired and skilled by you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend and the rest of it. And we will catch up during the Value Aid sessions as they progress.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much, Uncle Vic, and thank you for the opportunity. I mean, I cannot thank you enough because you introduced me to Value Aid and it has completely changed my life. So I need to say thank you to you as well.
Thank you, thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Cheers, cheers everybody on Facebook. Cheers, cheers.
Bye.
Bye.